Hey there everyone, hello from Riyadh and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in to learn more about how to land your dream job in Saudi Arabia. This video is the third in a series of videos with advice on finding a job in the kingdom. The first two videos, just in case you haven't seen them, were work in Saudi Arabia and finding jobs in Saudi Arabia. And now this video, get smart with your Saudi job search, will cover the following points. Optimizing your CV for ATS Software with keywords using ChatGPT, generating a cover letter in ChatGPT suited for the Saudi market, my must-follow list of legitimate Saudi recruiters, more ways to search for Saudi jobs on LinkedIn, more tips about optimizing your LinkedIn profile, benefits and Saudi job offers, a note on housing options, negotiating contracts in Saudi, and the difference between working in Dubai and working in Saudi. There is a lot of material to cover in this video, so let's get started with point number one, how to optimize your CV or resume for ATS software using ChatGPT. In my last video, I explained that your CV or resume should be optimized for ATS or Applicant Tracking System software. This is the software that recruiters use to filter out relevant candidates. Now, in order to optimize your CV or resume for ATS software, in my last video, I recommended using a paid service like topresume.com. But actually, it's not necessary to use a paid service. You can optimize your CV for ATS software yourself. Your CV should contain certain keywords that are the most relevant and most important keywords in your specific job role. And these are the keywords that ATS software would expect to find when scanning your CV and searching for qualified candidates. It's possible that your CV or resume already contains some or most of those relevant keywords, but just in case, you can head on over to ChatGPT, find those keywords, and then insert them on your CV or resume in the relevant areas. Here's how. So the prompt that you want to type into ChatGPT could look something like this. Please give me all the keywords that ATS software would search for in CVs of candidates applying for, then you insert the type of job, and then the type of company, institution, or organization. So taking civil engineer at a large construction company as an example, this is how it would look. So then you want to take this, copy paste it into ChatGPT and see what it comes up with. Now look at this. They come up with keywords for technical skills, for engineering. There's a lot of information here, also the certifications and qualifications that might be expected for this role, also the project experience, specific industry terms, software and tools, the soft skills, and the key action words and verbs. Look at all of this. This is great information. They even give you some tips about it. It's fantastic. Try it for yourself and then insert those keywords into your CV. It's possible that you have the experience expressed by those keywords, but you just haven't described it that way. So that's where you want to just take a look, match, and see that the relevant keywords are in there for your experience. You can also check the job vacancy announcement for the keywords in there, and then insert those keywords on your CV. Of course, again, wherever relevant. Moving on to point number two, generating a cover letter in ChatGPT suited for the Saudi job market. Now, don't forget that you can also use ChatGPT to create a decent cover letter that you can use when applying for jobs or submitting your CV to recruiters. Now, remember that the outcome from ChatGPT depends on how good your prompt is. So you need to tell it what you want in your cover letter. But what information should be contained in a cover letter for a Saudi job? Well, I recommend doing the following. So first, you want to copy the professional summary or objective from the top of your CV or resume. Then you want to use a prompt like the following. Using this summary objective as a reference, and that's where you paste it, please generate a brief and concise, impressive cover letter for an application to a job as a, insert the job title, at a, insert the type of employer, in the, insert the type of field in Saudi Arabia. Please mention my qualifications, and you list them there, my experience in the region, if applicable, and my willingness to relocate to the kingdom. Remember that for Saudi jobs, it's a good idea to be brief and concise, emphasize your qualifications, indicate cultural fit and/or your adaptability, mention your nationality and current location, and express your willingness to move to the kingdom. As a final note, never use anything from ChatGPT without doing a complete review of it. As you know, sometimes the content can be wonky or irrelevant or not exactly applicable. So make sure you check it, you tweak it to sound like your voice, and of course, customize it for every single job application. Never just copy and paste without reading it, because then it's a dead giveaway that you used AI. Moving on to point number 3, my must-follow list of legitimate Saudi recruiters. In my last video, I explained how to find job openings in posts on LinkedIn, in addition to using the job search feature in LinkedIn. Now, since I'm pretty active on LinkedIn these days, I've gotten to know the names and the faces of the people that are frequently posting job openings in Saudi Arabia. And I've made a list for you, so just go down to the description of this video, click on those people, follow them so you can also see their job postings. On to point number 4, more ways to search for Saudi jobs on LinkedIn. I've recently noticed that you can have quite a bit of luck by searching within certain zones within Saudi Arabia. As an example, let me show you something. I work in a special district in Riyadh called CAFT, King Abdullah Financial District. As an experiment, I put CAFT in the search bar in LinkedIn, and just look what came out. So what I did was simple. I just went over to LinkedIn and I put in CAFT in the search bar, pressed enter, and then I scrolled down just to see what was there. And in fact, I could find several job openings. Just scroll past all the other posts and anything else, and you can see that there are several people posting jobs within CAFT. So why are there so many jobs in CAFT? Well, because it's a special zone which is currently in a state of fast development. And there are several zones in Saudi currently in this situation. So in addition to CAFT, you can also try searching in Neom, Cake, Spark, and Ras Al Khair. My last tip about LinkedIn is number 5, more ways to optimize your LinkedIn profile for your Saudi job search. This point refers back to point number 1, about finding keywords in ChatGPT that would be picked up by ATS Software and then inserting them in your CV. Well, just make sure you also insert those keywords and those optimized descriptions into your LinkedIn profile. Finally, you also want to optimize your LinkedIn headline with a formula that will allow you to show up when recruiters search through LinkedIn for candidates. So your LinkedIn headline should read like this. Under your name, there would be the job title that you currently have, a couple of keywords, and then the industry you're working in. So an example would be John Smith, digital marketing specialist, content marketing, content strategy, and then e-commerce because he's currently working in that field. So you just need to customize this for your experience in field and then insert it in your LinkedIn profile under your name. All right then, on to point number 6, benefits in Saudi job offers. Let me just preface this by saying that in the past, Saudi employers typically provided a full all-inclusive package. In addition to salary, employers provided free housing, insurance, visa costs, family benefits like school fees for the kids, and in some cases, even free meals. Nowadays, as the competition for Saudi jobs increases and the appeal of working here has become more widely known, the benefits have changed in some cases. I mean, many of the employers still are providing all of the benefits or most of the benefits I just mentioned, but let's say that most Saudi jobs these days include the following from list 1. List 1 of benefits: salary, health insurance, flight to and from your home country at least once per year, visa and Iqama fees covered, family visa, Iqama fees, flights, insurance costs for family members covered, and housing or housing allowance. In addition to the above, some employers provide other benefits like in the list 2 of benefits: school fees for your kids, life insurance, retirement savings plan, corporate gym membership, and training courses. The fact that there is sometimes a housing allowance instead of free housing can be a blessing because that means you can choose where you want to live. So that brings me to my next point, number 7, a note on housing options. In the past, expats all used to live on compounds because that was the only option. But nowadays, there are so many more housing options, and many expats are choosing to live in mainstream Saudi society, like in an apartment complex or even an independent apartment building or house. These options are also good and much cheaper than living in a compound. Keep in mind that Saudi society is extremely safe. So I actually recommend living off compound. This gives you more opportunities to experience Saudi culture, to learn the Arabic language, and to integrate better into society. Compounds are like little towns or campuses where you can find just about everything you need. I mean, there are restaurants, cafes, supermarkets, and often like a swimming pool and playing area for kids, and sometimes even a school inside the compound. But you can imagine some of the drawbacks of living like that. I mean, although it may seem convenient and comfortable, it's kind of like living in a little bubble with all expats. I mean, you don't get as many chances to integrate into Saudi society and make Saudi friends, and you may be missing out on some of the beautiful things about living here. In the end, it's a personal choice, so you have to do what's right for you. Personally, I live in a small apartment complex, which has mostly single professionals and some small families, plus a mix of expats and Saudis. I frequently have the opportunity to speak Arabic in this situation and to meet Saudis and just feel a part of the society, while still having my own personal privacy and freedom. Also, keep in mind that living off compound can be much more convenient when it comes to accessing public services and getting deliveries, because on a compound that can sometimes be a hassle. Back to the previous point on benefits in your contract. If you work for one of those giga projects like NEOM or Royal Commission for Al Ula, or a university like KAUS, which is kind of like its own self-contained environment, then most likely you will have all the benefits that I mentioned before, as well as housing provided by the employer, since housing is available only on site. Now let's move on to point number 8, negotiating contracts in Saudi. Now that you know about the benefits that are typically provided with Saudi jobs, you know what you can possibly negotiate for. When receiving a job offer, you will first be given what's called an offer letter, which will explain your salary and all of your benefits. The recruiting person or whoever's in charge of hiring you will probably also schedule a meeting to explain everything in the offer letter and give you a chance to ask questions. If you don't receive some of the benefits in list 1 of point 6, you can try and ask for them. Keep in mind that every employer is different and things are changing here. Sometimes what they're doing is making the salary higher and reducing the benefits. That means you may have to make your own arrangements for things like housing, school fees for kids, or the cost of bringing your family over. In any case, if you are going to negotiate for more benefits in your contract, I would highly recommend doing this face-to-face. Either in person if possible, or on a virtual call if you're outside the kingdom. And this is of course because Saudi is a highly verbal culture and things work better when you communicate face-to-face, or at least in real time instead of writing it in an email. The last tip for this video is my opinion on the answer to the million-dollar question, and the one that I get frequently. Point 9, what is the difference between working in Dubai and Saudi? Okay, let me summarize it like this for you. Saudi is a growing, evolving market, which is abundant with opportunities, and it's exciting. I mean, every day you see new companies being launched, or you see new international companies opening a branch in the kingdom. That means there are so many more opportunities and chances for career growth. In Dubai, however, and in fact in all of the UAE, the way I see it is that the market is already saturated and it's really difficult to find a job there. Also, salaries are lower in the UAE than in Saudi, so that makes it difficult to save money. In Saudi, there's still a decent ratio between the cost of living and your salary, so that means that it's much easier to save. Additionally, keep in mind that the population of the UAE is 89% expat and only 11% Arab. And that means you don't really feel Arab culture there, you just feel like you're living in any other metropolis or melting pot. In Saudi, however, the majority of the population is still Saudi. The expat population is only 41 to 42%. And so that means you have the experience to really feel Arab culture. And that, to me personally, is one of the most beautiful things about living in this region. So to recap, here is the summary. In Saudi, you have lots of opportunities and career growth, possibility to save more money, and the majority is Arab population, which leads to a better cultural experience. While in Dubai and the UAE, it's a saturated market, it's difficult to find jobs, there's a high cost of living, lower salaries, and that leads to less savings. Plus, there is a low Arab population, which means less exposure to Arab culture. So that's all for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found it useful, and don't forget to subscribe so you can keep getting tips on jobs, culture, and life in Saudi Arabia. Bye for now.